Okay. So, distinguished guests and dear colleagues, I have made my presentation especially focused for the newcomers to FIG, all those that you're here for first time, to give you a brief overview of what we are doing, our vision and our agenda and our achievements, and to make it as simple as possible, and to try to encourage you to participate in FIG from now on. Oops. So, FIG is the International Federation of Surveyors. Actually, it is the Association of Associations. We are already 140 years old, and globalization in our profession has actually started much, much earlier than the economic globalization. And we are recognized as the non-government organization responsible for the collection and management of geospatial information and also the management of the land, the sea, and the built environment. We are recognized by all countries, by United Nations, and by the World Bank. Actually, in our globalized world and in the digital era, participation has even a bigger meaning. We cannot be individuals, we have to be together. We have to have close relationship with our member associations. In case we don't have still a member association in our places, we are urged to establish member associations, to be connected, and to have also connection with the association of the associations, with FIG. And this will enable us to be informed about the profession as much as possible. Nowadays, we have our website, our newsletters, everything. We provide the forum for good networking, for information, and then gradually we have to establish a very close relationship with FIG and be engaged in teamwork and goal setting. And of course, this involves commitment to collective objectives, and gradually we can participate to joint consultation in decision-making in FIG at all levels of administration. And all of us that you see here, that we are more active in FIG, we experience the same feeling, the feeling of satisfaction that together we can develop the knowledge and we have the power to actually to make change happen in the world. So I wish that many other people after me will have the same experience and will enjoy the same satisfaction. Together, we in FIG, we define our vision. Our vision is for a modern and sustainable surveying profession in support of society, environment, and economy. Modern profession. This means that we should always be updated about the new tools, the new technologies, and update also our land tools and our procedures and methods. We should provide innovative and reliable best practice solutions for our rapidly changing world. And you all experience how rapid the world is changing in our days, much, much different than what humanity has experienced in the past. Acting always with integrity and also with confidence that our surveying profession is useful for the society. And also, what is also very important, translating these words into action, focusing on implementation in our places, in the various places in the world. How do we do that? We encourage international collaboration among our members, but also among sister associations and regional bodies. You will realize that during the Congress this week. And also, we established very good relationship with UN bodies, FAO and the World Bank, as I said, and other professionals in support of governments to implement the ambitious Sustainable Development Agenda of 2030. It is really ambitious. It has several targets that need to be met by 2030. So we are lucky and challenged at the same time because governments the society has now realized the importance and the value of our evidence-based geospatial information for any decision-making, for transport, for health, for education, for management of cities and urban areas. And we cannot take any decision without evidence-based geospatial information. So they urge us to provide more and more. And also, we realize that technology and internet has changed the way people live and work. So information and technology gives us the opportunity to uncover the missing information and reduce inequalities. And the governments urge us also to assess the progress and to develop indicators so that we will be able to monitor what we are doing and how well we are implementing the Sustainable Development Agenda. Countries have started talking about the digital economy since mid-90s. This is not a new thing, but year after year after year, it became more urgent as technology is improving. So is it an opportunity for all? This is our challenge. This is what we should do, surveyors, but also other professionals. We are not going to save the world all alone. We provide our services, but we have to cooperate with other professionals and with the states and to make it possible for everybody. Today, there are still a lot of challenges, but also a lot of opportunities and a lot of unanswered questions. We have to develop the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure. We have to develop the platforms to improve connectivity and density. We have to ensure that investments will be made for digital infrastructure. Governments have a preference to have investment on digital infrastructure. They see it as a new model for economic development. But we have to ensure the benefits of these investments. That's why we say that urbanization is a key to eliminate poverty, because the more density we have in cities with people and the more connectivity and business, then we maximize the benefits of digital economy. And of course, there are some challenges. In many places, the informal sector in the economy is really big, and we have to regulate, we have to formalize. We need to know where people live, what is their address, how many people are there, and we need to know what are the jobs, what jobs they are doing, and we need to know where are the skills, and we need to monitor the skill flow according to the job needs. So these are challenges in education, but also in other sectors, in health, in transportation, in trade. We all understand that 1 year of education in one place is not equivalent with 1 year of education in another place. But now, due to technology, we can improve that. We can have additional online training and other challenges, certification, so that people can be easily moved from one place to another to find jobs. So in September 2015, countries in the United Nations, 193 countries in the United Nations have agreed for the Sustainable Development Agenda of 2030. And as I said, it's an ambitious agenda. We have 17 goals, sustainable development goals, that's how we call it. And also, we analyze these goals into 169 targets and 230 indicators. And FIG is trying to find its role there. Surveyors are trying to find their role. So we almost, and year after year, we contribute more. We cover almost all goals. I give you an example. The most important goal, number 1, I will read it, end of poverty in all its forms everywhere. This is really ambitious, but it is doable. Now we can do it all together. And the indicator 1.4, by 2030, countries should ensure that all men and women, in particular the poor and the vulnerable, have equal rights to economic resources, as well as access to basic services, ownership and control over land, and other forms of property, inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technology, and financial services, including microfinance. And not only that, we have the indicator 1.4.2, which is also very interesting, also very important. And we need to measure the perception that citizens have, how well secure they are, how secure they feel, no matter the legal framework that is existing, how secure they feel about their land rights. These are very important topics. And wherever we go, in all meetings, everywhere, all around the world, we hear the same thing: do your homework. All professionals should be coordinated together. to do our homework in our places, but also in other places around the world. Use the crowd in a more powerful way. These are some keywords that I collected from various meetings. Bring the people to the data. Bring data to people, provide people with data, reliable data, but also bring the people to the data, enable people to use the data, increase the usability of the data. Only when we increase the usability, only when we make it easy for the people, for all the people, the vulnerable, the weak, the most vulnerable people, to be able to increase their digital fluency, only then we will achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And we focus too much to minimize the great economic divide. And we have defined the great economic divide exists between the 2.5 billion people who can register property rights and the remaining 5 billion people that are impoverished because partially because they cannot register their rights and they cannot have access to credit, access to capital. We believe that property rights are one of the drivers for economic growth as well as economic freedom. Economists speak about the tragedy of commons, and they believe that if property has not very well identified ownership titles, then it is very easily to be abused. Also, we are urged to use the technology and make it as simple as possible. The technology, our procedures, our tools, to adopt fit-for-purpose infrastructures. Standardization is very important in our digitalized work, and FIG is working on that. And also, we are very much urged to investigate the potential of the blockchain technology and the Internet of Things. And also, these technologies are compared to are anticipated to bring big change, huge change in the way people live and work. And it is compared actually with the change that happened to humanity when, for example, steam power appeared and changed all the way people used to trade and move. And also the big change that happened in all professions when electricity appeared. For example, try to remember how planners and architects were designing before electricity and after electricity. Same thing with our profession. So we need to focus, to set priorities, and also to take care of implementation. And what we are in FIG doing, we are trying to define the role of the surveyors in the age of disruption with all these disruptive technologies that are going to change everything in our lives. We are urged to understand that the extended use of affordable and smart devices and crowdsourcing are creating a lot of information that we need to develop skills to be able to manage a tsunami of geodata. We all know that there is a great number of active Earth observation satellites that they observe Earth multiple times per day. You can imagine how many data we have to deal with. And also, the new generation, the fifth generation of mobile network technology that is anticipated to increase speeds, communication speeds up to 40 to 60% by the year 2020. This will allow massive creation of data and will allow big changes in the internet era. And we all have experienced the personalized information in internet, the Internet of Me. The Internet of Things is coming, and now people are talking about the Internet of Value through the blockchain to allow reliable transactions, to reduce costs, transaction costs, to increase transparency, to eliminate fraud in transactions. And they say that actually, by using distributed ledger technology that makes everything common, it's quite an irony compared to what economists were talking until now, the tragedy of commons. Because by making all this information common, then we increase transparency and we also maximize security in transactions. So we have also machine learning and cognitive computing that is increasing and will allow us to improve our human decision making. And we already have experienced a great application of drones and also the coming autonomous vehicles. But some people are skeptical, some people are conservative. I understand the reasons, but we should not see the complexity and be scared. We should see the opportunity there. And the World Bank and the World Economic Forum, they have estimated that with a 10% increase in high-speed internet connections, economic growth increases by 1.3% and leads to democratization of innovation. So in a world where 40% of population have access to internet, we could boost global GDP by 1 trillion by connecting another 327 million people. You can imagine what this means. And we can enable the use of sensors and boost the Internet of Things. And I can give you here an example, because also within FIG we were quite skeptical not too far, 3-4 years ago, about the use of and the value of crowdsourcing in our surveying, and especially in cadastral surveying. And we now have reached the level that we appreciate the potential of cadastral surveying, and we can see that it can be used very efficiently, maybe not so accurately in position precise yet, depending though on the background that we are using, on the base maps that we are using, but yet very important so that we will achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We don't say that we don't do it, that we don't need surveyors. On the contrary, surveyors are very important. We just say that we integrate this methodology into the surveying profession. And actually, we enable better and a greater citizen participation in this field. It's a new way of living and working. So what my advice to my students is that what is important is surveying education, very important in this era of digitalization. We have to improve our digital fluency and our computing skills. We have to be aware of the global challenges, to improve compassion, to build compassion in our young generation, to be able to cooperate and work with others, to be able to deal with diversity and infuse codes and algorithms with our values. Speaking about diversity, I like to emphasize that diversity benefits all of us. Diversity means all of us, and is the key to success for all of us. So I would urge you to remember that, because we need to work all together, all over the world. FIG is trying to create global surveyors, surveyors that have global education, but also that they understand the global challenges and that will be able to work everywhere to improve the profession so that nobody is left behind. And we have also managed to establish the Global Surveyors Day, and we celebrated it this year. So our mission is to provide more data, more tools, to maximize the benefits, to provide actually more freedom from hunger, from disaster, from everything, from poverty, from corruption, as I said before. And the UN also have established a new definition of sustainable development, and they use the word happiness. And they release annual gross national happiness reports, and they measure the satisfaction of the people, not only by GDP per capita for economic growth, but also they include other parameters: social support, healthy life expectancy, freedom to make life choices, generosity, and perceptions of corruption. So all these are important. And I want to emphasize here that the most important thing that FIG is doing is the work that our young surveyors, the new generation, are doing. They cooperate with the Global Land Tool Network, and they cooperate with all important experts within FIG in order to spread awareness all around the world, to increase the digital fluency of surveyors all around the world. And these people, in their turn, are expected to increase the citizens' fluency all around the world, so that we will actually work on implementation to see results. And also we work on standardization in our profession a lot. This is, as I said before, the most important thing. And also we support people. We support people and experts from the developing world with the contribution of the private sector. So within our cooperation of GLTN, also you will have the chance here during the conference to attend special sessions, to see the recent work that we have done, to see the progress that we have done with standardization, the social tenure domain model, to record social tenure, even when we do not have formal titles all over the world. It's a standard system, and also the progress that we have done with land administration domain model and the implementation and the publications that we have released, especially the new publication about valuation of unregistered lands. It is very important in this era of disruption to understand that maybe the tools and the methods and the principles that we had before in our profession need to be changed. Maybe we need to go beyond that. Maybe we need to develop fit-for-purpose approaches. So standardization is very important in everything, in the urban environment, in the land administration systems, but also in the measurement of land and the properties, and also in the management of the costs of construction in the urban areas. But also standardization is important about tools and equipment, surveying tools and equipment that we are doing. So one of the most important publications is the Fit for Purpose for Land Administration publication, and also the 3D Cadastre. It's a global research that our experts have done. It's a joint commission activity. And you can have an overview of the progress countries are doing in order to register property rights in the third dimension, because urbanization requires more precisely recorded property rights. Also, we have a publication about formalizing the informal real estate, and we do believe that by formalization of informal real estate is actually the major step toward formalization of the informal sector, because it's not just an informal building there, it is the whole economy working informally, all those that they work for that, and also to create the informal building, and also the informal transactions that are made after that, and the lack of access to credit for the owners. Also, we collaborate with FAO for the management of the rural areas, and this is also very important, and the implementation of the voluntary guidelines for responsible governance of tenure. It's a publication that FIG has contributed long, and we now are in the stage that we assess countries and the policies of the countries, how well they have implemented the voluntary guidelines, and also to raise awareness. And also we cooperate with UNGGIM and for reference framework and geodetic issues, which is also very important for the mapping of the world. And of course, with the World Bank and the property markets, we have established a cooperation to assess and improve and formalize property markets. And within this respect, we cooperate also with UNECE, and also we cooperate with HIAPSI. It's the International Real Estate Federation, because also these people, the private sector, is very much interested in formalization of informal rights. And with our major events, strategic events, were the annual meetings in our annual working weeks. We had an annual working week in Sofia, one in New Zealand, one in Finland, all very, very successful. And of course, this great Congress here. And we had also some strategic events, the kickoff event, one in the middle, and we in 2016, and we are planning another one also in November. I have tried here to map the representation of FIG all around the world, and here some of the publications. It is important. We have worked about the international ethics standardization. Also, we have released we have contributed to the International Construction Management Standard, and you will hear in the next days how important this work is. We are now finalizing a publication on the blockchain and the potential We have other publications about the activity in the Africa Regional Network and in best practices for the reference frameworks and also for taxation and for education. And this is the end of my speech. I hope that I kept the time.
You were great.
Okay, good. And may I now try to thank all those that they have contributed for these 4 years. And may I kindly ask you also, and the commission chairs, and the council, and the task force chairs, if they are present, to stand up. And I ask you to join me for thanking them, and also the FIG office. I have their pictures here that they have tried so hard. And of course, our local organizers that once again, I want to thank them and to congratulate them. Thank you. Can you please stand up, the commission chairs? And thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you,
Professor,
thank you very much. Thank you.
Professor Chryssy Potsiou, FIG President, thank you for your presentation.
It is my honor to be here. Thank you very much.
It was quite inspiring, by the way. Please have a seat. Thank you once again.
Thank you for moderating.